In this video, I'm going to be describing what a one-year wonder is in terms of a sports team. A one-year wonder is a team that experiences a huge amount of success for 1 year, however is unable to sustain it going. There are some things such as, the inverse of a one-year wonder. An example would be the 2022 Los Angeles Rams, who won a Super Bowl in 2021 after having, I think, 4 or 5 consecutive postseason appearances. However, the Rams went 5-12 in 2022, and in 2023 made it back to the postseason. But this video is about one-year wonders, teams that had an exceptional amount of success across 1 year. However, they were unable to sustain it into any sort of a prolonged kind of run. Also enjoy views of Belmont Lake State Park while we're at it. So, this video, I couldn't use a screen capture because I couldn't find where the computer is for that, so that's why I'm just doing it at a state park. But as for, a one-year wonder, you really can't be a one-year wonder unless one of two things apply. Number one, it's your only time making the postseason in a while, and it's not like, it's just like not just the only time making the playoffs, it's like the only time even getting close to the playoffs, and you make it to the playoffs, maybe go on a bit of a run, but you're unable to sustain that success. A big theme of being a one-year wonder is that you weren't expected to achieve that much success that year, and you were able to achieve that much success. That's not always the case. Sometimes you have teams like the 2022 Mets where they always have expectations and they always fall short. But especially the year after you have that success, everyone thinks you can capitalize on it, and you can't. So the year after is always a bust. And that's sort of how I'm going to operate with this whole one-year wonder type of thing. Looking at the 2022 season, there were actually several examples of teams that we could consider to be one-year wonders. 2022, I think the most obvious example is the New York Giants, a team that was on a 5-year playoff drought and went 4-13 under Joe Judge. They hired Brian Daboll to be their head coach, who led them to 9-7-1, a playoff berth, and a playoff win over the Minnesota Vikings. However, Daboll regressed significantly in 2023 as the team went 6-11, and his seat became very hot during the process after winning Coach of the Year. Now, Brian Daboll and the Giants' failure to capitalize on this success was very obvious when you watch the team. They were only able to beat one team over 500 in the regular season, and that was the Baltimore Ravens. Their point differential was also -6. So this wasn't like a kind of thing where everyone is shocked that the Giants couldn't maintain their success. Even though a lot of people had expectations for the team, it was very clear from the start that it was a very fraudulent team from the start, and them not being able to capitalize on the success should not be that surprising. Now, I'm not saying people thought that they would go 6-11 and start off 2-8. I'm not saying people thought that. What I am saying, though, is that it seemed pretty obvious from the start that Brian Daboll would not be able to replicate his 2022 success in 2023. That's what I'm saying. Another team was the Minnesota Vikings. They went 8-9 in 2021, and it was their second year missing the postseason in a row. Then in 2022, they go 13-4. They're actually the team that lost to the Giants in the wild card round. But again, it was very obvious. They had a -3 point differential, and while they were able to beat teams over 500 in the regular season, such as the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Giants, they were always doing so in one-score games. They were always doing so through a fluke series of events. I mean, in the Bills game, Josh Allen literally fumbled a quarterback sneak that led to a Vikings touchdown after several electrifying fourth down conversions that, if they fail, would end the game. Now, the Bills defense did make that clutch stop, but they did it too close to the goal line for it to even matter, and that was a big reason why the Bills lost and the Vikings won. But again, even though the Vikings were winning these games, they were always winning them in one-possession contests. Always in a fluke series of events, which is always an unsustainable, always an unsustainable method of achieving success. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't do a step up while making a YouTube video, because that actually hurt. There are some other times where you have a team that you could consider to be a one-year wonder, but it's a little bit more complicated in those cases, because a lot of time when you have that, it's a team that was struggling for to make the playoffs, but we're always in the race, and then they make the race. That's not going to really be a one-year wonder kind of thing. I think that there's some red flags in the 2023 season for teams that could be one-year wonders. Houston Texans, if they have a horrible season in 2024, 2023 will be a one-year wonder. And this would obviously be if CJ Stroud is not the guy. But in 2023, yes, the Texans had some fluky wins, but they looked consistently good. 2022, the Giants started off 7-2, and then they collapsed to a 9-7-1 record. So that's always going to be something that's suspicious. And the Texans were also able to beat good teams, and not only beat good teams, they could beat good teams decisively. So it really wasn't the same thing as these teams. In 2023, another potential for a one-year wonder is the Detroit Lions. Although they went 9-8 in 2022, and this would be, of course, if they really can't replicate the success by almost reaching the Super Bowl. Now, as far as one-year wonders in Major League Baseball, the 2022 Mets are showing strong potentials of it, because they always would suffer a late season collapse, 2021 perhaps being the most infamous, as it started off 35-25, held first place for 3.5 months, and still only were able to finish 77-85. So they weren't even able to achieve a winning record despite their incredible start, as the team was 55-48 as well. And then in 2022, they are able to reach, 101 wins, and everyone thinks that, the Mets are really good now and overcame their struggles, even though they were wild card exits and the first 100-win team to be a wild card exit. But then in 2023, they start off 14-7 and 30-27, and everyone thinks, okay, maybe the Mets can do it again. And then they flop miserably in June, falling to 36-46. While they were able to somewhat resurrect hopes in July, August was another brutal month, and their postseason hopes at that point were dashed completely. Now, 2024, the Mets have a lot to prove. Can they, make it to the postseason again and prove 2023 was the fluke year? But they're right now sitting at 68-63 and 2.5 games out of the playoff picture after being in it. I think that the Mets season this year will be similar to what the Denver Broncos experienced last year. A horrible start, strong winning streaks to propel you right into the playoff race, but ultimately are going to flop short of it and probably fall just short of 500 as well. And they'll probably have an opportunity to be at 500 really late in the season and, in Mets fashion, fail to capitalize on that as well. So the Mets have a lot to prove there as well. 2023 Marlins, again, the Marlins are just the Marlins. They're a sucky team. 2023, they get 84 wins, somehow get the 5 seed, only to lose in the wild card round immediately to the Philadelphia Phillies. And in 2024, the Marlins, stink. So that's the Miami Marlins for you. D-backs I also had as a strong potential to be a one-year wonder. That being said, they're actually playing really good right now, so I think that they're safe from being in the one-year wonder category. Another team that was a one-year wonder, the 2021 San Francisco Giants. oh, that's interesting. An interesting view. The 2021 San Francisco Giants had 107 wins, but lost in the NLDS in 5 games to the Dodgers, and that was the only time making the playoffs since 2016. So, okay, what the hell is this? And again, like, 1 year wonder is just like this very vague term that really applies to like any team that had success in 1 year that was unable to duplicate it. But like these teams are what a 1 year wonder is.